Gidigba for General Gas Area. Akobo, Ibadan. Ayagba yagba yao. It dey enter my body kulele. No touch amu.
News.
Analysis.
Reports.
And commentaries on the hour.
In your business interest on IBR 92.5 FM.
You're right to know.
It's 6 o'clock. Good evening. Here's the news at 6 on Impact Business Radio, Ibr92.5 FM. The headlines. Senate extends 2021 budget implementation to May 31st, urges Buhari to declare war on terrorists. President Buhari reaffirms self-sufficiency in food production as Nigeria is set to become Africa's fertilizer powerhouse. INEC warns political parties against violation of Electoral Act election timelines. Nigerian Army to reveal security architecture, build fighting will of troops. And on the foreign scene, United States calls for Putin to face war crimes trial after Abuja killings. Now the news and details. I am Anu Akomolafe. The Senate has extended the implementation year of the 2021 Appropriation Act from March 31st to May 31, 2022. The extension was approved following the consideration of the bill to amend the 2021 Appropriation Act. Moving the motion today, the Senate leader, Yahya Abdullahi, recalled that prior Appropriation Acts in the past were passed mid-year, with their implementation usually extended to the following year. Abdullahi explained that extension of the budget period becomes imperative in view of the need to complete ongoing projects nearing completion. The Senate had, before considering the bill, suspended a rule to enable it expeditiously introduce and pass the bill. Meanwhile, the bill seeks to establish the National Industrial Technology Park, the Federal College of Agriculture, Federal University of Agriculture, Cross River State also scaled second reading at plenary. In his remarks, the Senate President Ahmad Lawan referred the bills to the Committee on Trade and Investment and the Joint Committees on Tertiary Institutions and Agriculture and Rural Development. Token security. In another development, the Senate has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to declare full-fledged war on terrorists who engage in massive killings and wanton destructions across the country. This is as the lawmakers observed a minute silence in honor of those killed in a recent attack in Moya local government area of Niger State. Moving a motion at plenary, the lawmakers in management agency NEMA to provide relief materials and medical teams to the surviving victims of the attack. Musa would decry the incessant attacks by gunmen across the state, called on the federal government to support the Niger State government in putting an end to the menace. He maintained that the incessant attacks have led to killings, abductions, and displacement of the residents of the state. Token agriculture. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration has set Nigeria on the right track as Producers and Suppliers Association of Nigeria. President Buhari said the federal government has ensured foreign investors. Buhari said with over 70 blending plants operating in Nigeria, maintained that the era of persistent shortage of fertilizers across the country has now become history. Buhari noted that the federal government will continue to take combative measures to curb over dependence on imports and ensure self-sufficiency in food production in the country. The president noted that with a right-enabling environment, investors from around the world will savour the yearnings to invest in the agricultural sector. Token politics. Ahead 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has cautioned political parties against violation of electoral timelines as well as the provisions of the new Electoral Act 2022. Speaking with newsmen today in Abuja, INEC's chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, said the commission will stick to the timetable and schedule of activities for the election and also monitor primary elections of political parties. Okoye urged political parties to adhere strictly to the principles of internal democracy, drawing from their constitutions, guidelines, the Electoral Act and other regulations issued by the Commission. He further urged political parties to avoid acrimonious primaries, which could result in unnecessary litigations that may lead to failure to nominate and field candidates for elections. Meanwhile, Nigerians have called for the election of visionary leaders in forthcoming general elections. In a chat with Ibr92.5FM, they noted that the election of credible leaders is the way out of the challenges facing the country.
Over the years, the country has been bedeviled by poverty, insecurity, political uncertainty, bad roads, unemployment and corruption. These problems have been attributed by many to be a leadership issue. Reacting, some concerned citizens, Oladimeji Adeniran and Oluwatoyin Joshua said the time has come for Nigerians to do a critical appraisal of the people they want in leadership positions and not get sentimental about their decisions in choosing a leader.
I think people should demand credible people, and credibility has to do with being God-fearing, being wise enough to know what your people need. There's no fear of God, there's no true belief, there's no credibility, there's no things that make you moral. Morality is gone. So when we don't have a good and moral leader, there's no way the country will, no matter the resources that we have.
First thing that I think people should look at is the kind of the candidate that is there, they want to vote for, the kind of person that the man is. Maybe is someone that have a conscience of God, that's God fearing, then the way he has been doing. So they should look at those things, and not ordinary man that doesn't have any conscience to do what is not supposed to be doing.
Also, a public affairs analyst, Martins Omobude, said the Nigeria of today is a leadership question, begging for answers, stressing that there are some attributes Nigerians should look out for when selecting the right leader.
If you are choosing a leader, you should be able to look at what is the quality, what is the history of this person, what has he done successfully. He may not be a politician in the past, but in his field of endeavor, is he a manager? Has he been able to manage successfully his company? Can he manage human beings? Then we now talk about probably educational background, which is also part of it. But in all honesty, it's not about having PhD in politics that makes you a good politician. Leaders who will not buy voters' conscience.
While citing some of the problems affecting the selection process, Omobude said people ought to vote for individuals and not the party.
Must be voting for individuals, not just a political party. For instance, you have a political party where they have been able to, during their primary, like it's been rightly and widely defined, that the primary election is a family affair where decision is being made in order to choose a leader who rules a family, or who organizes a family, or who administer the affairs of a family. But it goes beyond that. In a larger society, you could choose a candidate and the larger society would reject the person. So if you are too sure of the person you are bringing, there's no need giving us an image.
He nevertheless said the onus is on the citizens to use their power through the ballot box to elect the right leaders.
The electorate should be able to hold the government accountable. They should let them know, these are your promises. Let there be manifesto. And let there be organizing meetings on daily basis by the electorate. So you can vote out a leader that you voted in if it's no longer performing. You move to the appropriate authority, ensure that he's removed from office, he's not truly representing you.
Without doubt, Nigeria needs leaders who are creative, innovative, and have decisive leadership skills to develop and foster peace in the country. Ayodele Fakeye, Impact Business Radio News.
Away from that, Nigerians need to be more active in monitoring electoral exercise rights from polling units to its last destination during voting activities to achieve free, fair and credible elections. This was made known at a conference held by the Coalition of Civil Society Organizations on Anti-Fraud Election Security in Oshogbo, Osun State. Speaking with newsmen, the convener of the coalition urged the Independent National Electoral Commission to ensure the credibility of Osun and Ekiti State governorship elections as test cases for 2023 general elections. According to him, the success of the governorship elections in the state will determine the outcome of the 2023 general elections. Also speaking, one of the coordinators of the event called on the electoral body to address the challenges associated with the biometric voter accreditation system before the elections.
I saw the elections being conducted. I knew what happened. I knew unapologetically the role INEC played. Yes, if they are coming to play the same role here this year after 4 years, and they are allowed to do so, 2023 is then already rigged before we get there. If we don't take a proactive step, look, it cannot be better.
Like I said, training and retraining was a major challenge in the use of beavers, but it's also new. But it will not be new in Osun because it started in Delta, from Delta to Anambra, Anambra to LCT, LCT to Ekiti. So before you get to Osun, it must improve. We must know the errors.
To ensure that beavers experts are readily within the proximity and easily reach when there are bridges with the beavers to avoid long delay of accreditation and voting. It's a very big challenge.
Moving on to other stories, the Cross River government has debunked claims that it has been unable to pay salaries to workers and gratuities to pensioners in the state. In a statement today, the state's head of service described such claims as malicious, untrue, and concocted to dent the image of the state government. Amutajero noted that in the face of challenging revenue inflows coupled with suffocating debt overrun, the present administration placed premium on payment of salaries and pension to the admiration of all. He noted that the state government will not hesitate to sanction or prosecute those orchestrating malicious propaganda aimed at causing disaffection in the state. Amutajero also gave the assurance that the state government will continue to address concerns of workers and senior citizens of the state. Following the survey that Nigerians spend over 2/3 of their month-to-month incomes on utilities, a cross-section of Nigerians have appealed to the federal government to cushion the effect of the biting economic challenges. Those who spoke to Impact News Crew lamented that the 30,000 naira minimum wage can no longer settle their bills. The report. The prices of foodstuffs have recorded significant increases across major markets, and it is attributed to the hike in transport costs. Not only that, electricity tariff, price of filling gas, among others, are some of the challenges Nigerians are grappling with. According to survey, Nigerians spend 67.7% of their monthly income on utilities such as gas, fuel price, electricity tariff, mobile data, water, and other basics. Reacting to this, some observers lamented that a 30,000 naira minimum wage cannot settle their bills.
People cannot find it difficult to survive the present economic situation now. I'm a government worker. I know what I'm taking. If you're earning minimum wage, what is the essence of minimum wage? When a worker cannot even send his own children to an ordinary primary school without borrowing from banks.
Take-home pay of civil servants is not even enough to last for at least throughout the month. And we are even begging the government, if there's anything that they can do to reduce the hardship being faced by the people in the country, it will be of help, because we don't even know the way forward now. We are begging them to help us see to a way of reducing the hardship that people are facing on a daily basis.
It's alarming. It's so bad, sincerely. You know, the little salary we earn amounts to nothing. It amounts to nothing. There's nothing left any longer. Even many a times, you even borrow before the end of the month. So what do we do about it?
Others are of the opinion that Nigerians are only struggling to adjust to the current economic realities, and they urge government at all levels to do something about the current economic hardship.
We just have to manage. I don't know, but since we find ourselves in that situation, we just have to adjust. That's just it.
Some artisans who spoke with Impact News Crew expressed concern about the epileptic power supply. They have to spend a lot on alternative sources of energy, which is having a toll on the cost of production.
To be sincere, everything is now going down, and then everything is now moving. It's not moving forward at all. Due to that petrol, diesel every day, like I say every day. Sometimes 350, 450, 550, almost 60 now that they are selling diesel. In that case, to charge customer. Just so you say they can't pay. Just collect the work inside. We can't collect because the price already increased. Before we say we are seeing paper, but as at now, diesel is the major problem that is there.
I went to tailor, tailor to torí kìsì ni kò sí náà tó wọ́n fi ṣiṣẹ́ ṣọ́ọ̀pù wọn jókòó ó sì lójú jẹnẹrétọ̀ tó gbé machine tàbí tó gbé iron.
It will be recalled that a new study by United Kingdom firm Utility Builder revealed that Nigeria pay one of the highest monthly prices for internet broadband, with citizens paying more than half of their monthly wages purely for Another development, residents of Ibadan today trooped out en masse to register for their national identity number. This is coming after the federal government's implementation of the NIN SIM policy, which restricts calls on any SIM not linked with the national identity number. Ibr92.5FM, who visited the office of the National Identity Management Commission in Ibadan, completes the report.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the implementation of the NIN SIM policy, which restricts calls on any SIM not linked with a national identity number (NIN). Consequently, the federal government has directed all telecommunications operators to strictly enforce the policy on all SIMs issued, existing and new in the country. Prior to this, the deadlines for the NIN SIM linkage have been extended on multiple occasions to allow Nigerians to freely comply with the policy. However, in a visit to the office of the National Identity Management Commission in Ibadan, Impa News crew observed that people trooped out en masse to register for their national identity number, while others were at the office to lodge complaints on the number. A resident of Ibadan, Adeolu Folawe, said he registered for the NIN in 2016, but it has not been functional. He lamented that he has been to the office on countless occasions to generate another number.
I did my BVN and my NIN since 2016. Up till now, they've not generated my NIN for me.
Also speaking, Abiola Ojo noted that he has been trying to register for the number since 2018, even as he decried that the office is always crowded.
I registered around 2018 to enroll the then, so I've been trying to get the application form and everything, but I was unable to many times I've been here.
Also, Ajawo Olawale said the registration is filled with errors, as most people always have issues with their national identity number.
I'm here to register for my NIN, which I have registered before, but I was told it was bad. That's why I'm here to register again for my NIN.
Last week, I want line ni kò sí tọ́jọ́ ní NIN yìí yóò wà correct. Wọ́n ní wọ́n kankan kò correct náà wọ́n pè fọ́tò mi rè gbogbo ẹ̀rí. Abẹ́jọba kí wọ́n ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Wọ́n ní àdégbà àti fóònù àti gbogbo ẹ̀ wọ́n tẹ̀ tí á block báyìí láàárọ̀.
Contrary to the claims, an official of the commission who spoke with anonymity said it is unfortunate that Nigerians are giving excuses for failing to register for their NIN.
Once you are registered, you get a NIN max 1 week, 2 weeks after you get your NIN. It's not possible for you to come since 2018 and up till now you don't have your NIN. The major challenge is, one, the people not coming out to tell us, give us the fact. You come in here, you want to register, we say, okay, give us your BVN. They hide it. They register. Meanwhile, they already have a NIN from the harmonization of the BVN record. Now, if there's a hit, there is no how you can get a NIN from that one, because already there's a record on the database.
He added that there are certain procedures to follow when there is an error in the details of an individual.
If there is an error on your record, if it has to do with your name, your address, and some other fields, you have to pay to the bank through remitter, 500 naira. Anybody that has an issue with the date of birth, it is 15,000, paid through the same process. That's the date of birth that takes a bit longer, usually 6 weeks. Quite unfortunate. How would somebody come out and say a government office will close at 2 o'clock? There's no sense in that now. How can we close at 2? Officially, we operate from 8 to 4 p.m. And most times, even if you come here at past 4, we are still attending to people.
Nigerians have been encouraged to visit any NIFC registration center for revalidation of their SIM card. Taiwo Olariwaju, Impact Business Radio News.
Talking security in the aftermath of the increasing attacks by terrorists in several parts of the country, the Chief of Army Staff, Farouk Yahya, has reiterated the resolve of the Nigerian Army to deal with unscrupulous elements terrorizing the peace of the country. In a statement today in Abuja, Yahya said the Nigerian Army is reviewing the security architecture of the country with a view to bridging observed gaps and building the right fighting will of the troops. The Chief of Army Staff noted that the volatile and complex security emergencies facing the nation have necessitated the continuous review of the national security architecture to contain the threat. He affirmed that the Army will continue to brainstorm and prefer practicable ways of strengthening the will, zeal, and spirit of the troops. In business, the central bank has advised Nigerians to shun unlicensed financial operators offering mouth-watering returns on investment. This is as the bank revealed that many Nigerians have fallen victims to firms which offer up to 100% return on investments to the people. The bank, through its Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, said illegal financial operators lure and defraud members of the public by offering extraordinary returns on investment as bid. Over now to Oluwayemisi Okpeodu for more business stories.
In business, the Federal Capital and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has urged digital lenders to desist from sending text messages to people in contact list of loan defaulters. The Executive Vice Chairman of the Commission, Babatunde Irukera, said lenders who wish to continue operating in Nigeria must obey the new rule of face being sanctioned. It will be recalled that the FCCPC, in collaboration with enforcement agencies, had raided the offices of illegal digital loan companies over alleged consumer rights abuse.
Having some investigative hearings with some of the largest digital lending companies that are subject of investigation. We're talking with some of their foreign nationals and their senior management. We're already extracting commitments that their loan recovery practices must change forthwith. We're developing business guidance that will show certain guidelines that are imperative for anybody to carry on the business of money lending in Nigeria. And why are these two examples important ones? They affect us very critically. We're about to open an investigation into fuel marketers. We do not dispute that they must operate profitably, but just the inquiry would let us understand what the fundamentals that support the astronomical rise in the cost of diesel or jet fuel and the cascading effect it has on lives and livelihood.
In another news, the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprises, CPPE, says Nigeria's debt, including that of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria and borrowings from the Central Bank of Nigeria, can hit 50 trillion naira within the shortest possible time. The Chief Executive Officer of the Center, Muda Yusuf, made this declaration at the presentation of its 2022 first quarter economic review in Lagos. He said the total public debt as at December 2021 was 39.5 trillion naira. He explained that the rising debt will typically become a problem if the revenue base is not strong enough to serve it sustainably. That ends the business news for today. I am Oluwayemisi Okpeodu.
Thank you, Yemisi. Human trafficking is the unlawful act of coercing people into forced labor or sexual exploitation. The menace is one of the crimes affecting the lives of millions of people globally and robbing them of their dignity. Damilola Agboluaji in this report takes a look at the consequences of human trafficking and other matters arising.
Human trafficking is the unlawful act of coercing people into forced labor or sexual exploitation. Research has proven it to be a global challenge and one of the world's most shameful crimes, affecting the lives of millions of people and robbing them of their dignity. The causes of this menace can be traced from poverty, political instability, and gender inequality, amongst others. Lending his view on the matter on the flagship program on Impact Business Radio, Healthy Parenting, the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice in Oyo State, Professor Oyelowo Oyewo, said it is important for people to report cases of human trafficking. While stressing on the need for good parenting, Oyewo said Oyo State is no longer accommodating traffickers.
I wouldn't say that we are shouting on the top of the roof, but under this administration, we've taken it, the gauntlet forward in the sense that, as you can see, we are partnering with NAPTIP, that is the federal agency. We have a state task force. We have an agenda. There's even a NAPTIP meeting on the 28th of April, a national stakeholders meeting of all the states. and we are going to be there. So for us, every Nigerian, and particularly every citizen of Oyo State, we are interested in the total well-being and welfare of the person. We want on this note to give a stern warning to traffickers. Oyo State is no longer a safe place for you. Please migrate out of here, because when we catch you, we'll send you to jail. That's a promise.
Also speaking, the head of National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Person, NAPTIV, in Oyo State, Akanya Augustine, is of the opinion that inability of parents to adequately take care of their children leads to human trafficking.
Well, what I would just want to say is that, just like, we have enumerated, some of the steps that we have taken. Our focus is to mobilize, all of government, mobilize all of society, in partnership, we can combat this, menacing activity of traffickers, because even the trafficking, we're talking about human trafficking. Trafficking actually, has a lot of associated crimes, that goes with it. So basically, we mobilize all of government, all of society in order to combat, the scourge of human trafficking.
As human trafficking can lead to communicable diseases, mental illnesses, and stigmatization of its victims, government at all levels must be proactive in putting an end to the menace for the development of the nation. Agboluwaji Oluwadamilola, Impact Business Radio News.
Now to the interesting world of sport, Isaiah Akeremi is standing by.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the sports segment. Former Super Eagles interim technical advisor Austin Egavon says he does not see himself as a failure despite the team's unimpressive showing under his tutelage. Egavon took charge of the Super Eagles on interim basis following the sacking of German coach Gernot Troll on the eve of the 2021 African Cup of Nations in Cameroon. The Super Eagles exited the competition in the second round despite a promising start which saw them win all their group matches in convincing fashion. The former defender was retained for the 2022 FIFA World Cup playoffs against the Black Stars of Ghana. The team failed to secure a place at the Mundial, losing on away goals road to their internal rivals, the Black Stars of Ghana. In other news, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has played down reports that Mohamed Salah is set to commit his long-term future to the club, but said contract talks are ongoing ahead of their Champions League game against Benfica. When asked about the situation, the German had this to say.
I'm happy with it because it's nothing new to say. That's good. It's just good. The decisive parties are talking to each other, and that's all I need.
Salah's existing contract runs out in June 2023. Away from that, Virgil van Dijk has shown his support for Louis van Gaal after the Netherlands boss revealed that he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. The news came as a shock to Van Dijk, with his manager choosing not to tell the Netherlands squad during the recent international break, and the Liverpool defender has said the players will do whatever they can to support the 70-year-old.
I was also in shock when I heard his interview, but I told him as well that we are definitely going to be there for him as a group whenever he needed, and hopefully we can also make it for him a World Cup to never forget.
Van Dijk is captain of the Netherlands side that has qualified for this year's World Cup, which he will hope to make his first appearance at a major tournament. And lastly in sport, tennis officials will hand out stricter punishments for on-court misconduct, the men's governing body has said. The ATP told players it was also reviewing its penalties for serious violations and repeat offenders. Australian Nick Gross was fined a total of $60,000 after the 26-year-old outburst at Indian Wells and the Miami Open earlier this year. German Alexander Zverev was also thrown out of the Mexican Open after hitting the umpire's chair with his racket. Kyrgios was fined $35,000 after criticizing the umpire and smashing his racket in his fourth-round loss to Jannik Sinner in Miami, and then $25,000 at Indian Wells after again smashing his racket, almost hitting a ball boy in the process. Meanwhile, world number 3 Zverev was given a suspended 8-week ban after attacking the umpire's chair with his racket in Acapulco. That's all we have for you in the exciting world of sport. My name is Isaiah Akinremi.
Thank you, Isaiah. To end the news, another look at the major items. Senate extends 2021 budget implementation to May 31st, urges Buhari to declare war on terrorists. We also told you that INEC has warned political parties against violation of Electoral Act election timelines. The news was produced and edited by Mary Uju. I am Anu Akomalafe. Good evening and thanks for joining us.
News,
analysis,
reports,
and commentaries on the hour
in your business interest on IBR 92.5 FM.
You're right to know.
We are black. We are Impact Business Radio 92.5 FM. The only business radio in Southwest Nigeria. Don't touch that dial.
Amutajero, IBR 92.5 FM, Ibadan.
tẹ́tí sí ètò àkókò ìyìn rere láti inú ìjọ Finger of Christ Gospel Church tí ó wà ní plot 5 Finger of Christ Street Olúwàtẹ̀dó Àjíá Road Èjìkẹyẹ Dálẹ́gẹ̀ Ìbàdàn. Ajínrere Vincent Sọlá Mohammed ti wà níkàlẹ̀ fún ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run tó ṣe iyebíye àti àdúrà. Fún ẹ̀bí àdúrà ẹ lè pe 0803-468-4303. ẹ máa bá wa kálọ.
Orúkọ Jésù.
Àmín.
Ọba ògo gba ọpẹ́ wa.
Àmín.
Ẹ̀mí mọ́ lórúkọ Jésù Olúwa gbà yín wa.
Àmín.
Àtúnlọ́nú ọ̀rọ̀ ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ Olúwa máa bá wa lọ.
Àmín.
Ọlọ́run jẹ́rìí orúkọ rẹ̀.
Àmín.
Kó fi tóbi rẹ̀ hàn.
Àmín.
Jésù Olúwa wa.
Àmín.
Ọpẹ́ ni fún Jésù Kristi olùràpadà àti olùgbàlà gbogbo ẹ̀dá. Ògo ni fún orúkọ rẹ̀.
Hallelujah.
Àkórí ìwàásù wa ti ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí la pè ní àjàrà ti ẹ̀ka. Nígbà tí a mú ẹsẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ wa nínú ìrètí Jòhánù 15 verse 4-6. Kí ni àjàrà? Kí ni ẹ̀ka? Bíbélì ni ó dá wa lóhùn. So ẹ jẹ́ á wo àjàrà ti ẹ̀ka. Wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ẹsẹ̀ ìkẹrin yẹn ẹ bá wa kà.
Ẹ máa gbé inú mi. Èmi ó sì máa gbé inú yín. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ̀ka kò ti lè so èso fún ara rẹ̀ bí kò ṣe pé ó bá ń gbé inú àjàrà bẹ́ẹ̀ lé ẹ̀yin bí kò ṣe pé ẹ bá ń gbé inú mi.
Kí n tó mọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ lọ ibẹ̀ yẹn ẹ jẹ́ á wo kíyèsí àwọn nǹkan bíi mélòó kan. Èmi ni àjàrà tòótọ́, bàbá mi sì ni olùṣọ́gbà. Ẹ jẹ́ á wo ẹsẹ̀ ìkíní orí kẹẹ̀dógún yẹn.
Èmi ni àjàrà tòótọ́, bàbá mi sì ni olùṣọ́gbà.
Bàbá mi sì ni olùṣọ́gbà. Kí ni Olúwa fẹ́ kí a mọ̀ níbí? Jésù mú wa lọ sí iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ láti ṣàlàyé ìgbé ayé titun àti ẹ̀dá titun nínú rẹ̀. Ìgbé ayé titun àti ẹ̀dá titun nínú rẹ̀. Ọlọ́run fẹ́ ní àwọn èèyàn tiẹ̀ lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí Ádámù àti Éfà ti ṣubú. Lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí Ádámù àkọ́kọ́ tó ti ṣubú, wọ́n ti ṣubú kúrò nínú orí ọ̀fẹ́, wọ́n ti ṣubú kúrò nínú àánú Ọlọ́run, wọ́n ti jáde kúrò nínú orí ọ̀fẹ́, wọ́n ti jáde kúrò nínú Ọlọ́run. So ó lé wọn síta. Wọ́n àì ṣèyàn Ọlọ́run mọ́ torí a ti tún ẹ̀dá wọn dá, ẹ̀dá burúkú ti wọnú wọn. So wọ́n ti yan èṣù àti tẹ̀lé. Ọlọ́run sì mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ dá èèyàn, ó dá láwòrán rẹ̀ ni. Ṣùgbọ́n nísìnyí àwòrán ti bàjẹ́. Wá fẹ́ ní èèyàn tiẹ̀, ó fẹ́ ní èèyàn tiẹ̀ fúnra rẹ̀. Nígbà tí Ádámù ti ṣubú. So èyí